UFC Fight Night Baku, Jamahal Hill versus Rountree happened this Saturday. It's now Monday. It's been a day. We've let the results marinate. And in this video, I'll be going through my picks versus the results and then my breakdown for each fight result. So let's get into the first one. Alright, so the first fight we're going to be talking about is Muhammad Naimov versus Bogdan Grad. Now, this event was really boring. I mean, really boring. I was having a tough time getting through this one. By the time we ended up getting to Naimov versus Bogdan Grad, we had already had 6 decisions in a row. I believe there was one finish. Let me actually take a look at this real quick. No, actually, there were no finishes. Every single fight on the prelims went to a decision in a relatively boring fight. We didn't have anything that was somewhat exciting. I think maybe Ulanbekov versus Maxim got a bit exciting, but other than that, it was rough. By the time we ended up getting to Muhammad Naimov versus Bogdan Grad, I was pretty done. But yeah, Muhammad Naimov won a decision. The first round, I picked Naimov and Naimov won, so I'm happy about that. But in the first round, it was Bogdan Grad with some control time, and Muhammad Naimov landed a spinning wheel kick that hurt Bogdan Grad. I thought that Naimov took the first round because I think the damage from a spinning wheel kick is more than any control time really can do on the scorecard. So Naimov won the first, then the second I believe Bogdan Grad took the second, and then the third was really close, but I had Naimov winning again. Maybe the spinning wheel kick happened in the third. Either way, some people had Bogdan Grad winning. They said it was a robbery. I did not. I had Muhammad Naimov winning the first and the third. I can't remember if it was the first or the third that had the spinning wheel kick versus the control time, but it was either the first or the third, and I had him winning the 1 and 3. It was pretty boring. Naimov was definitely better than Bogdan Grad in my opinion, but it was a very competitive fight. I don't think either of these guys. I was higher on Naimov before this performance, and after this performance, I'm thinking, they're all right. Both of these guys are all right. Featherweight's a pretty stacked division, so I'm not sure how far they go. I mean, if Naimov improves and Bogdan Grad improves, I could see them going a bit further. But it was a close fight. It was pretty boring. It was the 7th decision in a row of the night, and I'd rather talk about the next fight. So let's move on to the next fight. I got this pick right, 1-0 on the main card. All right, now. Nazim Sadikov versus Nicholas Mota. In an event where we were having an absolute drought of entertainment, not a single entertaining fight on the card, in comes Nazim Sadikov versus Nicholas Mota. Round 1. An absolute banger of a round. Nazim Sadikov looked crisp in his striking, throwing super technical combinations, digging to the body, and so was Mota. And in this round, I had Nazim Sadikov winning very close, very back and forth fight until about 2/3 of the way through the first round. Nicholas Mota finds a shot. I think it was either a body shot or a hook that landed on Sadikov that had him covering up and back against the fence. And Mota just unloaded. Sadikov was able to keep a high guard and defend a lot of his shots, but it was like 15, 20 unanswered shots against the cage of Sadikov just guard up, moving his head back and forth. Mota's digging head, body, absolutely unloading the full gas tank on him. There's even a moment where Nazim dropped, and I thought it was going to be a TKO finish. Another ref could have called that a TKO, but Nazim Sadikov stated it. I'm really glad that they didn't. So that was the big moment for Mota that had him winning the first round, in my opinion. So it was a super close back and forth first round, and then we get to the second round. Mota had gassed a little bit. Neither of these guys were wearing a ton of damage after the first round. A lot of shots were landed, and it was pretty back and forth, but there wasn't they weren't wearing a ton of damage until the second round. Nazim Sadikov opens up a cut on Nicholas Mota's forehead. You could tell that Mota had really unloaded most of his gas tank in the first round, so Sadikov was having a way easier time landing shots on him. But he opens up a cut on his forehead and starts to go to town. The damage really starts to wear on Mota after that. There's blood flying everywhere. Mota was landing really good body shots. That's what I remember. They were both landing combinations. Sadikov was getting the better of him in this round, but no, Mota was still in there digging shots to the body every time Sadikov would cover up after a combination. And this was one of the fights of the year, guys, because it goes back and forth until the fourth round. The second round, 4 minutes in, Sadikov gets Mota against the cage, lands a few good shots, and then finds the hook that drops Mota, and then a couple follow-up shots as Mota squatted against the cage that put him out cold, that actually knocked him out. This was absolutely amazing. I don't know if it's just the fact that there were so many boring fights and decisions on this card, and then we get this one, but this is definitely a fight of the year contender right here. This is one of the best fights I've seen this year, one of the best fights I've ever seen, and it ended with a finish too, so it was just absolutely amazing. Extremely good performance from Nazim Sadikov. I underestimated Nicholas Mota a little bit, but I did have Sadikov by a finish. Via finish, I thought maybe round 1. ended up being a round 2 TKO KO. It was a really, really good fight. That is the main point of this, and I'm super excited to see what Sadikov can do in the lightweight division. He's really good. Sadikov is really good, and this was in front of his home crowd too. Azerbaijan got a huge reception off the start, and this guy, we're definitely gained a ton of fans after that, because if anyone is watching, this is the fight that you remember from this card. This is the fight that that actually woke up the crowd, woke up the audience at home, woke me up. I was actually excited. A finish? What? Is that so much to ask for in the UFC? Apparently in 2025 it is. Now, Sadikov won. I had it right. I had him by finish. I had him by TKO. And that was what it was. So that left me 2-0 on the main card. Let's get into the third fight. All right. The third fight on the main card. Tofik Musayev versus Maytekbek Orolbay. Word salad. So, this fight. Home crowd advantage for Tofik Musayev. It was his debut. It's a rising guy. I think he fought in maybe in Bellator too. This is the guy that was a fight in both promotions. I said this in my prediction video. You're not in the UFC. You're not good enough. Orolbay is going to run through this guy. And he did. Tofik Musayev was not good. The crowd was so hyped for him. This is supposed to be some prospect, some guy that they're hyping up. But he's 35. We can't call him a prospect. He's 35 years old. And simply, he just wasn't good enough. Orolbay was way better. Orolbay was just... the skill gap was insane. It didn't even look like Orolbay had to try super hard. In other fights, his stand-up's really clean and crispy. But in this fight, he just sort of stood there for a second, then ran through him, sort of completely threw off the danger of Tofik Musayev, was able to get the takedown twice. 3 times, actually. He was able to get the takedown 3 times, actually. And then right at the end of the round, he locks up a Kimura and finishes the fight. Submits Tofik Musayev. Musayev didn't really show anything, had not really good takedown defense. I mean, his striking looked like it could have been there. Maybe there's a moment where I thought maybe he could catch Orolbay as he's just plodding forward towards him to get the takedown. He sort of just completely didn't seem like he thought of Tofik Musayev as a threat and all, and he actually, in actuality, he wasn't. Orolbay is probably the wrong guy to give Musayev on his debut. But if you can't even put up a fight against Orolbay, then you're probably not going to do anything at lightweight. So maybe they keep him around for some fun fights. I could maybe you'd have to really start scraping the bottom of the barrel to give this guy a good fight. He's not very good. He's not very good at all. So my decision was right. Good to pick against the Bellator Rising guy. Better to pick against them. Never pick them. They're sucky. They're nothing compared to the UFC. Take any of these random bottom just outside the rankings guys in any of the divisions, and they can go be champions over at Bellator and PFL and all these other places. It's actually insane. The skill gap is insane between the UFC and the other promotions. Maybe one championship has more of a comparable skill. One championship seems to have better fighters, but yeah. Orolbay ran through Tofik Musayev. I absolutely called it. Screw all those other divisions, all those promotions. You got to be in the UFC. That's where the premier fighters are. That's where the absolute skill is. So had this pick right, leaving me 3-0 on the main card. Let's get into the next fight: Curtis Blaydes versus Kuniev. Okay, fourth fight on the main card: Curtis Blaydes versus Rizvan Kuniev. I'm going to come out and say it. After the fight was over, after the third round, I scored this for Rizvan Kuniev. I picked Curtis Blaydes. I thought Curtis Blaydes would run him over. Round 1 happens. Curtis Blaydes easily takes down Kuniev. Kuniev can't do anything. Controls him easily the first round. I even tweeted out, ha 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 ha, this roid cheat loser is getting controlled by Curtis Blaydes and he can't do anything about it. I thought it was about to be easy money, easy mode. Get this guy out of here. You're not in the UFC. You are trash. Also, he's fat and obese and he abused steroids. Now, round 2 happens. Kuniev absolutely pieces up Curtis Blaydes. I'm talking about damage, cut on the face, swollen eyes, swollen lips. He's absolutely boxing him off. Kuniev had decent speed in hands for a heavyweight. Curtis Blaydes did look like shit in the second round, to be fair, though. He said that he tore his MCL, ACL, something like that in the first round, which is believable because that first round was an amazing... It looked like it was about to be a absolute star performance from Curtis Blaydes, an absolute domination, but we ended up getting to round 2. He's getting his head boxed off. It was bad. Clearly 1-1 going into the third. Very clearly 1-1 going into the third. You can't score it any other way. Rizvan Kuniev won the second round. Then we get to the third round. There was a bit of control time, mostly in the clinch from Curtis Blades, and there was a bit of the damage from Kuniev. I see how you could score it for Curtis Blades, but I was pretty sure Rizvan Kuniev won that third round. Majority of the damage that was on Curtis Blades' face happened in the second round. It was almost all of the damage, but I think he did damage him as well in the third round. You could see the blood flying off him after he's landing those punches on Curtis Blades. He was landing some clean shots on Curtis. Kuniev has decent boxing. For a fat, obese, roid-abusing PFL Bellator, whatever the hell he's from fighter. He was a PFL fighter. He's absolute roid-abusing fat loser. I'm going to take a second to rant about this. If you look at the pictures of him when he was in the PFL and even on the Contender Series, he was not as morbidly obese as he was in this fight. It was so obvious this guy's a roid user. And I don't know why, as a company, the UFC's allowing roid cheats. This dude popped for roids right before his second fight on the Contender Series. Literally popped for 3 different banned substances. And this is what I was saying. I was rooting against him because this guy. He's a cheater. He's a cheater, and I don't know why we need him in the UFC and why we gave him a top 5 fighter off the rip. Screw this guy. So that's my rant. That's why I absolutely hated this. And that's why I'm not mad at all that they scored this for Curtis Blades. If it was someone I cared about, I might be saying, hey, this was a robbery. But I don't care. You're obese and you're a roid user. I'm glad you lost. Get kicked out of the UFC. I don't care. So Curtis Blades ends up winning it. He gets a 29-28 decision, wins the fight. I think it went to split decision. There was some uproar, but I don't care. Curtis Blades is a better human being than Rizvan Kuniev. And also, yeah, I'd rather Curtis Blades wins. But good for Curtis Blades. They both kind of look like shit in rounds 2 and 3. I mean, Kuniev definitely has a huge hole in his game plan with his wrestling. The first round really showed it. And then if the reason Curtis Blades couldn't get him down again was because of the torn MCL, then that would explain it, because it looked like he had no takedown defense and no ability to get back up from the ground and in that first fight, or in that first round. So Curtis Blades wins. Some people were saying Aspinall trilogy because another thing, John Jones retired. We're finally rid of him. We finally can move on with heavyweight division. We can finally get Tom Aspinall fights. He stopped holding the division hostage. We can finally get some Tom Aspinall fights, because we've been robbed of it for the last year. Almost 2 years, a year, whatever. It's been a long time. It feels like it's been 5 years. It feels like it's been forever. But yeah, so some people are saying the Curtis Blades Aspinall trilogy. I don't think so. I think Curtis Blades is going to need to fight somebody else before getting another title shot. That performance was not very good in rounds 2 and 3. Now he arguably could have lost. So I imagine we'll see him fight somebody else. I don't know. He's fought most of the division. I imagine they'll do Volkov versus Aspinall. Well, that's what I want them to do. I imagine they'll do Gane versus Aspinall for the title, and then Blades will have to fight somebody else, and we'll see how the whole division shakes out. We're finally going to get some movement. So there's definitely an opportunity for Blades to get that trilogy fight. But as of now, he's going to have to fight somebody else in the rankings. Rizvan Kuniev, he'll get another fight. I hope he doesn't get another ranked opponent. I hope he has to fight some other fat blob. And then he gets KO'd brutally and breaks his leg and can't be in the sport anymore. Screw this guy. I don't want him in the sport. He's a roid-abusing cheater, and he's also obese. So get him out of here. All right, let's move on to the co-main event. Oh, actually, I picked this fight right as well, leaving me 3-0 on the main card. Let's move on. Roid-abusing fat fuck. All right. The co-main event. My picks were going pristine so far. They were perfect. But we get to the co-main event. Bahamondes versus Rafael Fiziev. I had Bahamondes potentially by finish, and instead Fiziev schooled Bahamondes for 3 rounds. Bahamondes had no success. He just showed he was a better mixed martial artist. Fiziev was able to mix it up in the later rounds, get takedowns. Round 1, it was a lot slower, it was a lot paced, but it's, high-level striking matchup. Bahamondes, I thought that he was going to be able to touch Fiziev, and Fiziev would have a tough time getting within the range. Fiziev was the range master in this fight. He kept the fight exactly where he wanted it. It looked like Bahamondes was trying to reach Fiziev and just couldn't, because he couldn't reach him, and then Fiziev was landing body kicks and perfect strikes on Bahamondes, and he was in the absolute matrix, dodging everything that Bahamondes threw. And round 2, it got worse because Fiziev got a little bit more comfortable, was able to land some more shots. And Bahamondes, man, fight IQ is looking questionable. It looked really good in the Torres fight, his fight IQ. And the Jalen Turner fight, he looked good. But, man, it looked like there was a big question on why are you still throwing spinning wheel kicks? Why is this the 8th spinning wheel kick you've thrown in the fight that Fiziev weaves the same way every time? Maybe stop throwing spinning wheel kicks? You'd think maybe stop throwing those. You'd maybe think stop throwing head kicks. He's weaving you like the Neo in the Matrix. He's weaving that shit. He's just out the way every time. Yeah, that was pretty much the story of the fight. Bahamondes couldn't get anything going, and then late round 2 and round 3, I believe, Fiziev was able to land takedowns and control Bahamondes too. Bahamondes was throwing up the submission attempts, but he's good enough where he's not going to get caught in one of the submissions. I should have known. But yeah, man, Fiziev just absolutely schooled him for 3 rounds in the home crowd. You know, the fans were going crazy for him. He got to fight in front of Azerbaijan and just school Bahamondes. I think Bahamondes can improve, and he could get back up to this point in the division again. He can. He'll still be at the bottom of the rankings. So he'll get another ranked opponent. I think he has the capability to, but Fiziev, just impressive. Really good performance from Fiziev and questionable fight IQ from Bahamondes. It was a mix of both, but overall Fiziev looked amazing, and he really, wow, vintage Fiziev. It was nice. It was a really good performance from him. I say let him run it with Dan Hooker, Gamrot. We need someone. He needs that top level fight, you know. And because the Gamrot fight in the first one, Gamrot has a win over him, but he blew his knee up, so I don't think it counts that much. I mean, Gamrot was looking better than him to start off. To be real, I thought that Gamrot was looking really good, especially on the feet. He was actually doing surprisingly well on the feet in that first fight. But yeah, he definitely lost, or definitely has a loss over Gamrot. But you know, you could run that back for sure. I wouldn't mind seeing that. I mean, Gamrot just laid on Ludwig Klein and got him out of there, so he showed that he's definitely the top level and could do that to people. Yeah, Gamrot Fiziev would be fun. I think Gamrot Dan Hooker would be a fun fight, but it ended up might being something similar like this, where Fiziev is able to control the range. I mean, he's clearly had no issue with a taller opponent. But yeah, good for Fiziev. He's back up top. He's got a win under his belt now. So yeah, he just snapped that 3-fight losing streak. Just don't give him Gaethje anymore. Gaethje beats him every time. But yeah, really good shit for Fiziev. I picked Bahamondes by finish. Fiziev by decision ended up being the thing that left me 4 and 1 on my main card picks. So not too bad. I picked a dog in the co-main and it didn't pull through. Surprisingly, on the prelims, all the underdogs lost on the prelims. Literally every single. Obon Elliott got fraud checked by the Korean Tyson. He got grappling fraud checked by him. Rough times over here for my picks on that night. But main card picks were not too bad. So that left me 4 and 1 on main card picks, and then let's get into the main event. Oh, I was so wrong. So wrong. All right. The main event. As you can see, Jamahal Hill did not dominate Khalil Rountree. That was the title of the last video. That was the thumbnail. That was the overall point. That was my point. I said the straight shots of Jamahal Hill would be there, and he'd be able to land them on Khalil Rountree. And it would be a domination. It was a domination, but on the side of Khalil Rountree. I forgot that Jamahal Hill has the footwork of a newborn baby deer. His footwork is god awful. It's like top 5 worst in the sport footwork wise. It's absolutely garbage. He's so heavy on his feet, and I just didn't think about it. And Khalil absolutely punished those legs. Jamahal got into a habit of getting kicked in the leg and then going, nope, didn't hurt me. Nope, didn't hurt. Shocker, it actually hurt him. Round 1, Jamahal came out with a heavy leg kick approach. The round 1 was a lot closer. They were both super composed. I thought Khalil edged it out because I think he did get outstruck in the first round. I think Jamahal outstruck Khalil in the first round, but all of Khalil's shots are more damaging, which is just how he is. He's a compact, built human being, built to damage people. But yeah. He went out there and he caused some damage early. It looked like there could be moments of success for Jamahal. He landed some in the first round. It was very close, but I gave the first round to Khalil. Round 2, the gap widened. Khalil started to hurt him pretty bad with those leg kicks. Round 1 was a lot more even on leg kicks. Round 2, he started to pull away. But yeah, round 2, Khalil started to really put on that damage. I think I tweeted out that I was like, Khalil definitely won round 2, but Jamahal has a chance to hurt him because there were inklings of times where Jamahal Hill would catch him with a little something, or he was just close enough where he might be able to throw something. But this fight was so slow. It was so slow. Khalil just stayed on the outside and punished Jamahal Hill left and right. Round 3 was when we realized all hope was lost. Khalil dropped him. I believe it was round 3. There was 2 knockdowns in the fight. I think it happened in round 3 and round 4, or round 3 and round 5, something like that. And Khalil's adverse to getting a TKO. He doesn't want TKOs. I guess the same thing in the Anthony Smith fight. It's just he doesn't really for some reason, in his most recent fights, he has no urgency to jump on the ground and finish the fight. He dropped Jamahal and sort of just let him stand back up and stayed back. He didn't really go for the finish at all. He wanted the clean walk-away KO, maybe. I don't know. But he dropped Jamahal and just let him get back up, continue to kick his legs and body. And this is where I started to fall asleep. Round 4 and 5, the same thing, whole lot of nothing. The end of round 5, Jamahal Hill or Khalil Rountree just running around the outside after he'd done enough to win. It was not like he needed to go in and risk anything. Jamahal does have knockout power, but Jamal's legs were toast. He couldn't plant on his feet and land anything with some power. So I thought he was like a wounded animal in there, and just there was nothing he could do. But I guess, say a wounded animal is the most dangerous. But yeah, Khalil did his thing, absolutely dominated Jamahal Hill. Another thing to point out this fight, in a fight with 2 knockdowns and the amount of damage there was, it was boring. It was weirdly boring. There was a ton of moments where there was nothing happening, where no one was throwing, which is so weird if you look at the significant strikes and total strikes. Oh my God, they put every single strike Khalil threw was a significant strike. They're not wrong. Khalil's got some wicked power, and it was damaging the hell out of Jamahal. Everything was landing some standing hammer fists, those leg kicks. He ended up, there was one moment where he landed the standing hammer fist round 1. Then he feinted it and then landed a leg kick. So Khalil was just styling on him. It was not a dominant. Jamahal had nothing for him. So yeah, Khalil dominated. At the end of the fight, Jamahal came up to him and said something about why he was running. And Khalil said, "You're a hard guy to read, and I got to protect myself." When I watched it, I thought it was about. I thought they were talking about they were both talking about. Khalil Rountree had come up to Jamahal Hill and said something like, "Oh, you really don't like me, huh?" And Jamahal was like, "I don't like you. I don't know you." I thought they were talking about that, and Khalil was like, "You're a hard guy to read. I got to protect myself." And I thought it was something like that because Khalil Rountree isn't a cult, by the way, so he's kind of a weird guy. But yeah, so yeah, Khalil Rountree dominated. I was completely wrong. Never could have been more wrong about that. There was no chance Jamahal Hill had. Round 1 it looked like maybe could have been close, but then Khalil really just pulled away. And yeah, so Khalil dominated. That left me 4-2 on main card picks. I think I went 6-6 overall. So the prelims I did awful on the prelims. So you can do that. I went 4-2 on the main card and then 2-4 on the prelims. So it was a bad night for picks. Oh yeah, and then in the post fight press conference, Dana White announces to the world that John Jones called the UFC and retired. So this whole time he's been ducking Tom Aspinall questions and all this shit just to retire over the phone after one of the Nelk boys asked him, "So what would it take to fight Tom Aspinall?" And he ran away and threw a tantrum, and then he retired on the phone. So end of the John Jones heavyweight story. I imagine he'll throw some tweets out. He's just waiting in his cave or maybe in a jail cell because he's more crimes that come up. Maybe he's waiting for Tom Aspinall to lose, and then he's gonna tweet, "See, guys, I told you. There one day, gone the next. I've seen this a million times before. You guys said this guy would beat me." He's waiting. He's going to do that. He acts like he doesn't care. He 100% cares. But yeah, so Tom Aspinall's finally opened up the division. He's the heavyweight champ. He's been promoted. So things are looking up. And this week, we have got the banger UFC 317, Charles Oliveira versus Ilya Topuria. So watch out this Wednesday. I'm going to try to make this earlier. So this Wednesday, we're going to get my prediction video. It's going to be grand. It's going to be great. Really check out that video, guys. I'm going to put a lot of effort into that one. Wednesday, the prediction video's coming. I'm putting a lot of work into it. So watch out Wednesday. Like and subscribe if you enjoy the content. I did my live stream this week on YouTube. Next week, I'm looking to dual stream to do both Twitch and YouTube, so you can check out either one. I'll be doing my live fight companion, giving my predictions for the early prelims to the main event. So yeah, I went 6-6 overall and 4-2 on the main card. So terrible. Did terrible on picks. Jamahal got dominated. All right, I'll see you guys all in the next video. Thank you.